Aloha. My name is Breath. 3 years ago, I was kidnapped by the government and pumped full of LSD intravenously. My mind was then electrocuted and my brain was manipulated under a program called MK Ultra. After many months of therapy, I'm finally able to recall these events, and I've come to a place in my mind where I'm able to talk about these events and hopefully gain some clarity. I would like to share that not only was this a horrific moment, but it also led to me being stuck in a permanent trip, which has been the greatest blessing so far of my life. Please enjoy my story. Aloha. This is where my story begins. All of my memories go back to the one place, the one forest, waterfalls, and an electric blue ocean. My story starts here because all my memories start here. It was here that I finally recovered from my 10,000 hit LSD trip. This LSD experience was forcefully injected into me by government officials representing a program called MK Ultra. After many months of therapy, I'd like to try explain to the best of my ability what I went through. Please listen.
I apologise that I'm not been on the internet. I've had an extreme 3-month urine therapy and 3-month social therapy to reclaim my memories of what happened before the beach.
It was inside of this cave on this beach where I laid for 4 months in the fetal position, throwing up, tortured by the demonic voices inside of my head. I'd like to explain to you in my own words what that felt like. This is only after therapy. Thank you. Please listen.
Once I started fading back into a awakened, semi-conscious state, I constantly had a voice echoing in my head. The voice would say things to me like this: put down the books, pick up your balls, real men shoot, heroin! This would echo over and over again in my mind, constantly. I then had another voice of equal aggressiveness, and it would tell me things like, the second voice was, like I said, equally aggressive, and it would say things that were more personal. It started saying things like, you've been fucked since the second trimester when your mother was getting high on drugs. You were drunk and high and fucked up in the uterus. It would say those things on repeat over and over again. It wasn't until one day when I was curled up in a fetal position that a fruit fell from a tree called a noni fruit, and I was curled in the fetal position, but this noni was able to penetrate through my legs and my arms, and it landed and with such velocity right onto my gonad region, and this snapped me out of somewhat of a state, and I was actually then able to hear a third voice that was not so aggressive, but almost as if it was some kind of divine help. And I remember that voice, and it said to me very clearly, the parasites are in your body. The parasites are in your body and they need to come out. You need to stop eating. And then it was a combined three-way conversation with the demon telling me that my mother was getting me high and drunk in the uterus. The other demonic voice, telling me to shoot heroin, and then I had this friendly voice telling me that my body was riddled with parasites. My body was riddled with parasites. Next was the itch. Demonic itch all over my body. It felt like I had parasites all over my body. And these parasites were combined with the voice. I knew that voice was telling me I had parasites in my body and they needed to go. And they felt as if they were crawling through my skin, crawling under my skin. A demonic itch all over my body, and I knew I had to do something. So I started listening to the great divine voice, and I decided then and there that the only thing I would eat would be the noni fruit that landed on my gonads, and I would meditate, and I would only eat noni, and I would find to my dismay that the other two voices, after 2 weeks of doing this, those two demonic voices left. The only voice that was left was the divine voice, and I had rid my body completely with parasites, and I was then able to transition from only eating noni to only drinking water from the river, creek, straight from the source. It was after then I started to get fully functioning ability of my body. First to come back was the erection function, and then after that my mental function, my whole body function. I was told that if I fapulated once, that all of the internal parasites would come back. So I strictly in no fap. And that's pretty much how I got to where I am now, where I don't need to eat, and I don't need to sleep, I don't need to drink, and I am forbidden to fapulate. So I hope that that makes some sense to you guys. Aloha. So this is one of the spots where I would bathe and drink for 3 months without the food. Coming back here really, well, it really brings me back. None of these areas am I able to share with you, unfortunately, because of my whereabouts needs to stay disclosed. And it's a very, very beautiful and harmonious piece of ocean. Beautiful beach. I don't like to come out here too often because, like I said, it can bring back flashbacks, and I need to stay away from any flashback inducing state dependent cue, my psychologist told me, because we don't want to have another episode. Okay, thank you. Aloha.